In this assignment, we do a master copy painting. We paint a copy of an old painting. For reference, you should select one from the list. We try to paint the painting in bit similar ways than an oil painting can be done. We first stain the canvas, then we paint the dark areas. After this, we'll paint the shadow area of the skin, and lastly start building the light areas of the portraits. We do this assignment in two phases. In the first phase, we don't have to care about smooth transitions. Also, I don't care about details, and I don't paint anything that has a lot of structure on it, like the hair. Once again, I create exactly the same sized canvas than the model file is. I select everything on the painting, Ctrl A, copy it, Ctrl C, create a new file, Ctrl N. It will be the size of the clipboard. I click Create and drag the canvas next to the reference. I'll add guidelines to both of the images. One vertical and one horizontal. I'll select the line tool, select a fill color and remove the stroke color. For weight, I set 3 pixels. I'll set the vertical line to the side of the nose. I'll make the height smart. In my case, from the top of the head to the collar. When drawing the line, I press Shift for a straight line. The horizontal line should go through the eyes. From the length, I selected the side of the ear to the side of the head on the other side. When I have the guidelines done, I copy this layer or layers to the other file. Select the layers, right-click and select Duplicate Layers. For the destination document, select your canvas. The guidelines will appear on the canvas on the same place than on the painting. Both of the files are exactly the same sized. I select the canvas file and the background layer on it. I first stain the canvas. If you zoom into your painting, you can see which color it is stained under all the paint layers. Normally this is ochre color. The staining should be lighter than the shadow areas on the skin, but darker than the light areas of the skin. I start the painting by painting the big dark blobs. I don't paint black, but dark brown. In this assignment, I can paint with another type of brush tip. These 3 are the best ones for this painting. You find them from the brush presets of the course. Or then find these from the folder Legacy Brushes on Photoshop CC 2018 and later. This brush doesn't have any special features, it's only a bit different form than the round brush. By clicking the left mouse button, you can check what the brush tip actually looks like. I'll check the second row settings of the brush. Only the rightmost of the pen buttons is pressed, smoothing is in 0, flow in 100%, and the opacity is what I want it to be. If the brush tip is goofy, you can see the settings from Brush Settings panel menu. Only shape dynamics and smoothing should be pressed on these settings. You can untick. If anything else is ticked, just untick them. Then close the Brush Settings panel. In the first phase, I paint the dark areas as exact as I can. These are the easiest thing to paint. Just see them as abstract forms. It's really easy to compare these dark areas to the reference. I use high opacity for these areas, going to the positive and negative directions. So painting the color and removing it with the background color. I change the tone of the hair to be a bit more brown. Next I'll set a new color, the color of the shadow of the face. This is more red than the other shadows. I'll paint the painting for a long time only with these few colors. This is the only way to get the features on their right position. You can also make few lines to mark where the areas change to another. Zooming out is really important for checking the areas. I'll now shade the background to be a bit more dark. I leave some of the stain showing. I'll add some gray to the background. It looks really cold on the brown background. Next I'll darken the shadows a bit. I'll do this on the areas of the core shadow. I'll add some warmth to the skin tone. I'll work the painting for a long time with these colors. You should use at least half of the time to this underpainting. I'll continue working with the shadows. There shouldn't be a lot of texture on them. I'll tone the colors of the face to be more red with a face-sized red glaze. One brushstroke of low opacity paint. I'll now paint the iris. This helps me paint the eye on its proper position. First, they are just dark blobs. You should zoom in your reference and your canvas. Now you can work the border of the shadow and the light area more closely. Still not painting any lights on the face. If you use Ctrl plus and minus for zooming, you should be able to get the sizes just right. Next I'll start to build up the lights. I started with a quite vivid ochre color. I painted on the most light areas, on the forehead and on the bridge of the nose. I use a reddish color to warm some of the areas, mostly the ears, eyes, mouth and the nose. Next I'll set some whiter color to the light areas of the face. For the chin, I'll make a low opacity gray glaze. The color should still be quite saturated and much darker than in the painting. I paid close attention to the colors on the painting. Where there is yellow, where there is red, and where there is colder colors. Now I work the painting for quite a long time with only the tones now on the canvas. My color areas are still quite blobby. I add even lighter colors, bringing some white with low opacity to the highlight areas. I select one of the mixed light colors and use that to create some forms on the face. You can do some blending on the colors, but shouldn't focus on that. The most important thing is to find colored areas. You shouldn't paint light colors on top of the shadows, but build the light colors in steps. There is too much contrast on the painting. I darken them with a brown glaze on top of the whole of the light area on the face. Now it's easier for me to continue working. Remember that you can always take these types of back steps if you already went too far. Again, working with the colors I already have on the canvas. I focus a bit on the eye with a bit smaller brush, but I don't draw anything. Pay a lot of attention to the color of the eyeballs. They are not white. I work on the painting all around, concentrating again on the background and on the shadows. Now working with the eye, you can see if your base work has been precise. If you weren't precise with the dark areas before, the eye will be on the wrong position, and your painting will never look like the reference. I once again introduce a bit lighter color to the lightest areas. I then blend these lighter colors to the directions they should be blended. I'll block in some of the bounce light on the shadow of the face and the half light on the cheek. I'm quite happy with this phase of the painting. The areas are quite well divided. I have most of the colors quite nicely blocked in. But I haven't blended the colors too much, and I haven't painted details. But for most, I haven't touched the textured areas like the hair. In the next phase, we learn how to make better blends and our own brush for painting hair.